Hey everyone, it's Linnea for LDRS Creative, and as I'm posting this video, Christmas is only a day over 2 weeks away. So it's really coming down to crunch time for making and sending Christmas cards in order for them to arrive on time. So I thought it would be fun to show you a design that's perfect for mass producing. I'm going to be making 4 of the same card in this video, and it took me about 15 minutes to make these 4 cards, so you can definitely whip up a bunch of these. I'm going to be using the Christmas Inlay Stamps. That's what I'm going to start with. I'm creating 4 cards, so I have 4 A2 sized panels, and I will be cutting these down later, but I wasn't sure which shape I wanted to go with for my final design, so I decided to just start with an A2 panel. I have the Christmas Inlay Stamps, and I'm going to start with the little like pine tree and with the greenery. I know I want to use that large deer with the big huge antlers. I really like that image, so that's kind of where I'm going here. I have olive branch hybrid ink from LDRS Creative. I inked it up twice just to get a good saturation of that color. And then I'm also coming in at the bottom and adding a 3rd layer, but just at the bottom to kind of deepen and give you some shadows. I'm inking that up and then wiping off a little bit, just kind of dabbing with my microfiber cloth. That way I don't get a harsh line. Really easily, I'm using my stamping platform and I'm just popping in one panel after another. Once you get your stamp lined up, all you have to do is ink and stamp over and over again. Now it's time for step 2 of this design, so I'm grabbing that big deer with those gorgeous antlers, and I'm going to ink him up with iced tea hybrid ink. I'm going to do just 2 layers of ink just to make sure that I have a good saturation of color. I'm inking up my first panel, and then I'm going to pop out this panel, put my next one in, and stamp. You can see how easy this is if you have a stamp positioner, but if you want to use just a block, that would go just as quickly as well. These images are really easy to line up. All you have to do is just kind of position that deer so that his legs are in between that greenery and he's butted right up against that pine tree. I decided to add a star on top of the tree just to kind of make it look like a little Christmas tree, but you don't have to do that. You could skip that step if you wanted to. Now all I need is a sentiment, so I'm going to my Good Cheer Sentiments stamps. And there are so many sentiments in this set that you could choose. I love how some of them are curved, so you could do a curved sentiment across the top or even across the bottom if you wanted. But I chose to go with a 2-step sentiment, so I'm stamping We Wish You a over on the left side of my stamp design, and I'm using Raven hybrid ink, and then a Merry Little Christmas down at the bottom. Now, if you wanted to, I realize that this says We Wish You a Merry Little Christmas, so you could definitely mask off one of those A's. I decided not to. I decided to just go with it. Nobody's really going to be looking at it that closely, I don't think. Once I have all of those panels stamped, I decided I'm going to go with a square design. I love square cards. I think they're really cute and different. So I grabbed my hand-torn squares dies, and I'm using the 3 largest dies. I used the largest die to cut a piece of green, second largest to cut a piece of red, and then I'll use that 3rd largest die to trim down my stamped panel. And all I'm going to do is just simply layer these together. Each of these edges are different, so you can twist and turn these panels to get a different look. Once you have settled on your look, you just need to adhere them together. I added some foam tape behind my white stamped panel so that that would be popped up with a bit of dimension. I do plan on mailing these cards, so I kept just 1 layer of foam tape behind that white panel. But if you're going to hand deliver these, or if you don't mind paying a little extra for postage, you could add foam tape behind each of these layers. I just went behind the white with the foam tape, and then I'm using my craft glue behind all those other layers. My card base is just a white folded card base, and it measures 4 3/4 inches square. So it is bigger than an A2 card. You could put this in a square envelope. Just remember that in the US, square envelopes do require extra postage, but this design will also fit in a 5x7 envelope, and that would not require extra postage. Here's my finished design. You could keep this really flat if you don't want to add any foam tape at all for easy peasy mailing. And look at all these cards. I love how quickly they came together. They're classic Christmas colors, but you could switch up that color theme if you want and completely customize this design. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye.